Welcome to my full course on online lead generation for coaches. All right, so if you're an online coach, you want to book more calls with dream clients, this should help you do so. My name is Jack Bly. This helped me book a record of 264 sales calls in 1 month for my coaching company. So yeah, if you really watch this to the end, you actually execute on the info. All right, obviously, don't just watch this, procrastinate. If you do that, you're gonna have an annoying amount of leads for your coaching business. All right. So here's some examples right here. Noah says I had so many sales calls in the next 2 weeks that I can't even sell one-to-one coaching for all of them. All right. So pretty good problem to have when you cap out your fulfillment. And now we're having to shift to some more of a group sessions for him, which are even more profitable for them, which is awesome. Sam here, 7 calls booked in about 24 hours. And he says he should be on track for 20 calls a week or 80 calls a month here very soon. Or Austin here, who had a viral post and booked 24 calls from just one post alone. All right, using my strategy. So if that sounds cool for you, if you want some similar results, keep on watching. So really, this can be no fluff. I'm going to jump right into it. This stuff, if you do this, it's going to be insanely valuable for your business. All right, so the first thing we do is that you choose the highest ROI, return on investment, client acquisition method for you. So there's a bunch of different ones. You're watching this, you probably are familiar with these. There's a bunch of different things that you can do to get clients, but here's what they include: paid ads, warm outbound, cold outbound, content, and affiliates. All right, so I recommend everyone watching this. You probably already have, content running. You probably already have some sort of a account built up where you have some audience, whether it's big, whether it's small. You're probably already doing content. Keep on doing that. All right, everyone should be creating content because that makes every other client acquisition method more effective. All right, but beyond that, we're going to focus on one more of these methods to really dial in on. All right, to create predictability. So take a look at your situation. All right, so do you already have an audience built up? If you do, cool, then warm outbound makes a lot of sense for you. All right, it's going to be insanely profitable. If you have a small audience, but you do have money, then paid ads. All right, this can be good for quick results. Small audience and little money. All right, then you want to do cold outbound. All right, if you have connections with guys who are already have your dream clients in their ecosystem, then affiliates make a ton of sense. So look at your situation, choose one that makes the most sense for you, and we're really just going to focus all in on this. All right, I am strongly against omni-channel if your goal is to sign clients now. All right, if you want to sign clients now for your coaching business, don't go omni-channel. Don't focus on 10 different things. Don't do that. It's a waste of time. It's wasting all your energy, and it's killing your focus. All right, because if you're everywhere right now, you're doing so much work, you're on all these different platforms, but you're not signing clients, why are you doing this? Start with one, make it consistent, make it predictable, and then add another one. That's exactly what I'm gonna show you how to do. So once we have this, you've chosen your method of client acquisition, we actually go ahead and we start testing campaigns and tracking KPIs. All right, KPIs means key performance indicators. It's basically key numbers that really tell us a lot about what's going on. All right, so our goal here is consistency and predictability. All right, if you're a coach and you've been doing this for a little while, you've probably had a lot of up and down months. Or months where things go great, and then months where there's no clients signed, there's no leads, you don't know what's going on, you're freaking out. All right, this is very typical for most coaching businesses because you don't do this. All right, so if you want this, if you want consistency, you want predictability. Jeremy here, for example, signed client last night. Asked him, hey, signed some clients this week. He said, yep, signed client last night, and then also should be signing another client for a 5K deal for him. All right, so here's the deal. We want to sign clients every month like clockwork, right? So here's how we do it. This is the actual method to do it, how you actually create predictability. So you literally know, okay, I simply do the simple inputs and I'm going to sign at least this many clients this month. Cool. All right, you don't have to freak out. You don't have to do random posting and just hope something works. This makes it predictable. So what we do is we run a campaign, keeping all variables consistent. All right, so a campaign just means whatever acquisition method that you're choosing. You're basically running, a set of inputs in that method. So what I mean by that, let's say you're running some sort of outbound, warm or cold. You send, let's say 300 messages. All right, that's a campaign. All right, so it's basically a set of doing the inputs that you need here. So you run a campaign, keeping all variables consistent. This is very important. If we don't do this, then you're going to just run into the same trap you've already been running into up and down months. So variables. All right, think of yourself as like a scientist. All right, when scientists run experiments, they want to keep all these variables consistent. Right? They do it in a lab, so it's a very controlled setting. They can't let all these outside factors get into their experiment because it messes it up. All right, so we're trying to do our best to keep all variables consistent as possible. So this means your branding. All right, don't change up your profile, your bio like 5 times. Like, especially if you do this while you're running a campaign, this actually has a big impact, especially if you run some sort of outbound or even paid ads. People always look at your branding and your profile. So if you change that in the middle of a campaign, that can drastically alter the results. People can really resonate with one of your positioning in your profile compared to another one. All right, so make sure we keep this variable consistent. All right, the stimulus. The stimulus is whatever sort of like stimulus you put in front of people. All right, so this could be the ad creative. All right, for example, right here, this is like a stimulus that you put in front of people. It's an ad creative. Or it could be the outbound message. So the actual message that you send out to people is the stimulus. All right, we want to keep this consistent while we're running the campaign. All right, and then the rest of the funnel to book call. All right, so outbound, for example, we send an outbound message. People have a positive reply. They're like, yeah, I'm interested. All right, whatever is the rest of the sequence to get them on a call, we want to keep that consistent. All right, if we change this up every time, then we don't know what works and what doesn't work. And then the targeting. All right, the targeting is like, which people are we targeting with this campaign? All right, when you're running ads, like what targeting settings do you select? When you're running outbound, who specifically are you messaging? Where do they come from? What characteristics do they have? All right, all these must be consistent. Then basically we do this and we run it to a sufficient sample size. So for example, for outbound, it could be 300 messages. All right, you send 300 messages, cool. That's a sufficient campaign. So we're basically testing all these variables to see if they're effective. All right, ads, for example. Let's say this is the ad creative. And we deem this is a good sample size for this is 30,000 impressions. So we run this ad until we get 30,000 impressions on it, then we observe the results. All right, so that's the next step. We track KPIs, so these key performance indicators, to observe results. All right, and this is, we're about to get into some juicy stuff right here. Like, this is the game-changing stuff. If you do this, like, scaling your business is going to be 1,000 times easier. All right, if you don't have this, like, I don't even know how you're supposed to scale. Like, you can't. Like, I haven't seen anyone scale without this. So very important that you have these numbers right here. So let's get it. So we track KPIs. So like, truly, like right now, if you consider your business to have a solid offer, like when you get people on sales calls, they actually like your offer, they jump on it. If you have a good fulfillment, you actually get good results, and you have a solid sales process. Like once we actually get those dream clients on calls, like we're pretty solid at closing. Then the number one reason your business is probably going to stay a little business, so 30K a month and under, is lack of this KPI tracking. All right, the top of the funnel. All right, if you don't have this, this makes everything random. This is the reason for up and down months, because nothing is tracked, everything is completely random. So big picture, what we need to know. All right, big picture, we need to know CAC. All right, you know CAC, which is client acquisition costs. Basically, you need to know how much is it actually costing you to acquire a client. All right, odds are you probably don't know this number right now if you're watching this video. You also need to know 30-day cash. All right, this is the average cash collected from a new client in the first 30 days. This is like the big picture stuff. If you know these two numbers, you can have like an ultra scalable business tomorrow. All right, so what we're looking at here is if 30-day cash is 2 times or more your CAC, then you can scale big. So that basically means in the first 30 days of signing a new client, you collect at least 2x whatever you paid to actually acquire that client in the first place. So this means like you have ultra profitable client acquisition. Or you can simply scale whatever you're doing. So if you're running ads to do this, cool, let's just up the ad spend. All right, you have a money printer, so let's keep on, up in the ad spend. All right, if you're doing outbound, cool, let's send more messages. This is why this is so important. If you don't have this, you simply don't know, and it becomes scary. Like you're not sure if you spend more on ads if you sign more clients, because you're not tracking it. You don't know. So this is a big picture what you need to know. But we also need to know other things within the actual whole process of your client acquisition funnel. Like we need to know other KPIs within that. So for example, you need to know your close rate, your show rate, your cost per call, your cost per lead, your appointment booking rate. I know this is a lot. I know it is. I know it sounds like a lot, especially if you're tracking nothing right now. But once you have this, the game becomes easy. I'll show you an example of this. So example, my cold outbound campaign converts at around 4% ABR, or appointment booking rate. So that means for every 100 messages I send that I book, 4 calls. Pretty solid, pretty cool. And then for me, my show rate is insanely good. It's 98% plus, which is not typical. Usually if you get 85% or so, that's really solid. Close rate's 40%. That's also like really solid close rate. So what this means, like once I have all these numbers, this means I literally need to send 63 messages to sign one client. If you knew this, like imagine how easy it would be to scale if you knew this number. If you know, okay, cool. If I just send this many messages, cool, I sign a client, I make this much money. Like how easy would it be to scale? You literally have a money printer at this point. It's so cool. This is what we do. This is predictability right here. All right, so the game is like your client acquisition system is an improvement process to get crazy good numbers like this. All right, so we're just improving these different parts of the funnel. We're improving the appointment booker rate. We're improving the show rate. We're improving the close rate until we have, CAC arbitrage. So basically like we're paying like stupid low for our client acquisition cost. Once it's just like a no-brainer, cool, like I'm paying like nothing for new clients. Let's just scale up the system. All right, that's what we want. All right, so this stuff, like please start tracking this stuff. This is gonna change the game for you. Then number 3, once we do this, we're just outsourcing, automating, and scaling the system. All right, so our goal here is to book qualified calls on your calendar on autopilot. All right, so for you not to lift a finger, if you're like me, you started this business because you want freedom. All right, that's why I'm doing what I do, because I love freedom. I love being able to take a trip. All right, not have to, ask my boss for days off, take a trip to the mountains, go to this island. All right, I love to travel. I love to have freedom. All right, so to do this, when you put this on autopilot, this is actually pretty easy. So for example, with outbound, you simply hire a VA or appointment setter, train them, showing them your already converting process to book calls, then they replicate it. Or you can train them over 2 weeks, make sure they follow the process correctly, but it's pretty simple. With ads, it could already be on autopilot depending on how your funnel is set up. So it could be some sort of ads into your automated email sequence and then they book a call. Like depends on how your funnel looks like, but it can be pretty easy to automate. Boom, like once you have this, you literally have calls booked in your calendar on autopilot. You don't have to lift a finger, which is pretty freaking sweet. All right, for example, for me, this is just like one random example, which literally happens all the time, but booked 4 calls in my sleep here. Pretty freaking cool. All right. So really, once you do this, like all you do is once you have this whole process down, you automate a whole client acquisition system. You can just repeat this process to add another client acquisition system. You can scale this to infinity. All right, so it's pretty sweet how this works. Like truly, like please treat this as a $997 course. All right, please implement this because it's completely transform your coaching business. But that is really the process here to generate leads hyper consistently, hyper predictably for your business. All right, and if you are a coach, if you want help doing this, implementing this, installing these systems into your business so you can have an enormous amount of leads, have just consistent, hyper predictable client acquisition, this is what I do. So click the link below if you want to work with me one-on-one to make this happen in your business, and I will talk to you soon.